for it, yeah. We're here for it, yeah. We're here for it, yeah. We're here for it, yeah.
I am super excited today because on the SheHH podcast, we have 2 out of 3 siblings from the incredible group Lin D. Applause, applause, applause. Welcome, Emy and Ella, all the way from Sweden. Are you in Sweden right now? I didn't actually check.
We are. We live here and we're at our house. So
Nice. I'm like, I love that your background's actually real. Mine is fake, but yours is like very, very practical for these interviews. But how are you guys doing today? How are you feeling?
We're great.
Yeah.
So excited for this interview. And yeah, we've been talking about it for a long time. And it's great to finally do it.
And be here, yeah. I'm excited to hear it from you. Like I told you off camera, like you have been on our list of people we would love to speak to. We don't really get to speak to groups often, like it's solo female artists. So to have a sibling group, obviously with your brother, it's so nice. I am very, very excited to deep dive into your whole musical like childhood, because singing with siblings, I love it. I sing with my siblings. I am very much a huge fan of what you guys do. But yeah, just to dive into who you are. You guys are a sibling group who make music. You're from Sweden, but you're internationally renowned. You've been singing, doing worship, doing ministry since you were even younger, because I was going to say since you were young, but you are young. So since you were even younger. But please tell us a little bit about your musical journey.
yeah. Well, as you said, we started out with we were kids when we started with music. We come from a very like musical background. So we started out doing Christian kids music, and we traveled with our whole family. So we're 3 siblings, and then our parents were in the group too. So we did Christian kids music for like 10 years, I would say.
Probably, I think we did the first album when I was 5 years old. Emy was 7. And then we did 3 more. So we did 4 albums with that children's music.
Yeah.
And that was called Emy and Ella. So,
and even before that, our older brother, who is in the group, Dennis, he also made a couple albums with Christian kids music. So we have that whole background. So that's how we started. And we did like family services all around Sweden, and mostly Sweden and Norway, because our mom's from Norway. So we had a lot to do with Norway too.
Yeah, but we also got amazing opportunities to like do some missions trips to like Brazil. We went to Kenya. It was awesome.
Yeah, so that was also part of what we did as the ministry back then.
Yeah. But the name Emy and Ella kind of restricted us to only us 2, and we saw that our brother really wanted to be a part of it all, and we kind of wanted to switch it up since we got older too, and make music for people in like our own age. So that's kind of where we're at still. We changed our name to Lin D. That was end of 2017, I think. And then we've just been keep going, and yeah.
Oh, I love that. And I love that it's a whole family affair, like the mom, the dad, the kids are all involved. And I love that you were also introduced to ministry so early as well, like letting people know like this is a gift, or letting you guys know this is a gift that you've been given and you're blessing other people with it. And like I said, I also have siblings who I grew up singing in church with. So I love that bond I have with them. I love that you're always hearing music from one room or the other. And like just before this call, you guys said you guys are just singing to each other and singing the sister harmonies. My sister and I, it's like 1, 2, 3 straight, go into your parts, like you know what to do. But how was it? Like how was it having your brother produce, having him do his thing, and then coming into the group? Tell us a little bit more about that kind of relationship.
Yeah. Well, it's been a journey, I think, since we started out with our whole family. And back then, our parents wrote the music, and they did like most of the work, and we just were on stage and singing the songs.
I was 5.
Yeah, so it's fine. But so it's been a journey from it being like a whole family thing to us owning it and doing pretty much everything ourselves, even though our parents are still involved and they manage us, and our dad books the shows and everything. So I think since growing up, we've just started to write songs on, I think first on our own, and then we came together and wrote for Lin D. So that we've been writing our own songs for 4 years.
So we
Around
kind
that
of,
time.
yeah, and like when we started Lin D, we worked with a lot of other producers, and Dennis hadn't really worked up like his skills as a producer yet. He's always been very interested in and worked on his craft. But then really we just made this change and said, hey, Dennis, you can produce, and you can do we can do everything ourselves, and that's really been amazing for us too. We still like to work with other people too, but it's great to, especially when we're here in Sweden, be able to do everything ourselves. It's great. And really when we started writing ourselves was probably around the pandemic.
Yeah.
When we just sat down and said, okay, where do we want to go? What do we want to do? And yeah, that's kind of how we started making everything ourselves.
I love that. And yeah, you guys are really like self-starters with the production in-house, the writing in-house, management being the parents. Like I think I was speaking to your dad to book this. So it really is all encompassing. And at what point, I know you released a single back in 2017, What a Feeling, as Lin D, and so that was probably the beginning of like that name. But at what point did you think, okay, we've got success and we're doing well in Sweden, it's time to take it worldwide? Like what was that final like push, if you like, to go and expand your kind of reach?
Well,
Good question.
yeah, I don't know if it really was like, okay, let's go global like that, but it was more the Swedish language is kind of restricted to only Sweden. And also it's very normal for artists in Sweden to sing in English too. It's pretty
Common.
So for us, it was mostly like we want to broaden our audience and not be restricted to only people that understand Swedish, because we feel like, well, like it is a global thing, and the message we want the music to be spread all around the world, and that kind of makes it easier to make the music in English.
Yeah. And then I think as far as booking and like doing shows outside of Sweden, I think that kind of just flowed naturally from just contacts, and we started getting one gig, as I said, since we were kids, we've been traveling to Norway too. So I think it just kind of one by one just spread out, and then some other festival in Europe heard about, oh, we're going to Big Church and they've been at this festival, and then it kind of, that's how we've gotten around to play in, I would say maybe 10 European countries, and then to the States too. And yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that it was organic and it wasn't like, let's force a strategy. It was very much like God ordained and within the right time and things like that. And I was going to ask about like the fact that you mainly make music in English. I was like, I mean, I had to keep scrolling for a while to find anything in Swedish. And like sometimes the captions are in Swedish, but like everything's in English. And I'm like, okay, it does make sense if you are trying to, appeal and have other people understand as well. But even the actual sound of the music, I really want to dive into that. You describe in your bio your sound as infectious pop R&B productions with heartfelt Swedish melodies to create a sound that's both fresh and uplifting. And I definitely agree. Every single song I've listened to, I have to bop my head. Like I feel it. I feel it deep in my heart. And yeah, shout out to Dennis for a lot of the production. He's great, and he shouldn't even doubt anything. He's doing so well. But what are some of your like music influences and like the sounds that influence how you produce and make music?
Yeah.
Wow, we have so many influences.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to work to just get them all together so it doesn't like get too different what we want to do, because all of us listen to like a bunch of different genres. But I feel like we found a way to merge everything together.
Yeah. So we say that we mainly do like our base genre is pop, but then we take in like R&B, Afrobeat, even
some soul, some
gospel, like because we like a lot of different genres, as you said. But some influences that we listen a lot to, like over the years, has been Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, John Bellion. So that's more of the like the pop R&B bag. And
lately we've been a lot. I love Sunday. I love Madison Ryan Ward. All of those. Yeah. The more I'm probably more in the R&B, so a bit alternative, and you like the singer songwriter.
Yeah.
A bit more country.
Yeah. So we're pretty different in what we listen to like separately. But then when we come together for Lin D, we try to obviously stick to one sound kind of, but then use influences that we listen to, all of us.
But we always write music that we would want to listen to ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're heavily influenced sometimes by like UK dance too, and so we've got a lot of genres going on.
Yes, you do, definitely. And I think you do hear those influences even in the production, but even down to like the riffs you choose or the runs you sing and the way you choose melodies. And I will like jump into the music really soon, because there's specific songs I've picked out that I'm like, I'd love to hear the story. But we even talked about making music in English, making music that is like a wide spread of genres, and that actually really helped with touring, or helps with touring, I can imagine, because you're going to countries speaking in English and they're like, oh, I love like what these girls have or this group has to say. Last year you had a huge US tour with Winter Jam. You shared the stage with some of my faves like Lecrae and another sibling band, Kane. Can you please tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like coming from Sweden, which Sweden is a kind of a small country, and we only have 10 million people, and about 2-3% would call themselves Christian. So the Christian world in Sweden is even smaller. So coming from that and going to the States where they fill arenas with like 10-15,000 people coming to hear Christian music, was just, that experience alone was like crazy and so inspiring. And also just being on tour with, as you mentioned, like Lecrae and Kane and Crowder was with us, and it was so inspiring to just see how they work and that they do music for Jesus, and a lot of people get influenced by it and it helps them and it's part of their everyday life. And it was incredible to witness people hearing their music and also hearing our music for the first time. It was very, very cool.
It was really cool, the whole experience. We lived in an RV for 3 months with the whole family.
Yep.
And just traveled all around the US. It was kind of a huge road trip for us too. It was amazing. And like you said, we just got home with a lot of new motivation and just inspiration from seeing what you can do in the Christian music industry. And we don't really have an industry like that in Sweden, since it's pretty small. So it was very encouraging.
What was it like actually rubbing shoulders with some of these people? So like for me, I listened to Lecrae back when I was a teenager and I was like, oh, Christian music can be cool. This is amazing. What was that experience like, actually like rubbing shoulders with them?
Yeah, I've listened to Lecrae a bunch too. And it was a weird feeling, because somehow when you meet people, they are also human, you just hang out, and Lecrae's really cool. We got to hang out a lot with him, and he shared a lot of good we had a lot of good talks, and he really helped us a lot during the tour and just motivated us. We got to go visit his label, Reach, and we were back there a couple months ago. But and also all the other artists, like we had such good talks with everyone, and it was really great. They really were generous with their time.
Yeah, and they were very like available, and as you said, just like chill people, and we hung out and we talked about everything. So it was very cool.
It's always lovely when you get to meet your faves and they're like actually really great, especially in Christian circles, because at the end of the day, we all have that common thread of being like Jesus followers. So that's lovely to hear. And especially because that was your first tour in the US at the time, right?
Yes.
It was.
And yeah, you tour regularly across Europe. Like I've seen you guys at Big Church Festival over here in the UK, and I hear you're coming back this summer. So exciting.
Yes.
But I would love for you guys to talk about the differences, if there are any, between like European audiences and audiences in the US.
Wow.
Good question.
I feel like maybe it's a bit of a hard comparison for us to do, because the Winter Jam tour is a very sorry, it's a very like specific tour, and we were like first on stage, and it was more of a I don't know really how to explain it, but it's hard to compare to like a festival in Europe. But
Yeah, we mostly do festivals in Europe, and this was like a whole night of or at Winter Jam it was like a whole night of a long concert, I guess.
Mhm.
So we were openers at the Winter Jam tour. So I mean, people are excited for sure
Yeah.
in both places. I think we've mostly seen differences in Europe actually with like Northern Europeans and Southern Europeans, because
Eastern or Western, it's also different.
because Southern or Northern Europeans, as we are a bit more like restrictive, and they take a bit longer.
Reserved.
They take
You
a bit
gotta
longer
work.
to warm up, and then at the end of the show you're like, oh, you really like this, you know. And then Southern Europeans, we have this example that we always bring up from Slovakia. We went to the Lumen Festival, and we had never played in Slovakia before. This was like 3 years ago, I think, two or three.
Yeah.
And the first song, as soon as we said like hands up, everyone
just
raised their hands like so soon,
Yeah.
and we didn't have to like work at all.
So it's different.
In
only
Europe, too.
only like Sweden, Norway, Denmark are also different.
Yeah.
So it's like it's fun in every country we go
Yeah.
to.
That's a great answer. And I feel like over here in the UK it can be the same as well, like where you have some shows you do that people are like very switched on, ready to enjoy, like very full of the joy of the Lord, that kind of thing. And then you have other places you do like performances or have sets, and people need like they make you work for their approval. They make you work for the claps. But I do love how you answered that. And I ask because I can imagine when you are from Europe and you do mainly, because obviously a lot of the hubs are the UK, the US, Canada maybe, and then you're out here taking over like Europe, it could just be a very different experience from artists that are like specifically from those hubs. So I just love to see your perspective there. But I definitely want to jump into the music right now and speak about some of the songs, because you guys are on it. You guys have really been active over the last few years. So let's jump into Brighter Future. And one thing I love about you guys, like I am such a Christian girly. Like I am very much grown up in the church. Yes. And I love when people make music that's really scriptural based, like it's very much scripture, the Bible. And you guys are very heavy on infusing those lyrics from the word. And so, for example, with Brighter Future, it's very much on Jeremiah 29:11. And I did write it out because I was not going to come here and say the scripture wrong. But for I know the thoughts I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Please do share about this song, Brighter Future.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's inspired by conversation and just the overall feeling we have in Sweden and in our like friend groups and people that we've talked to, and for us too.
And in school and just young people in general.
We've heard a lot that there's a negative stamp on our generation and that there's not a lot of hope in general, and that like everything is just getting darker. There are in Sweden, at least, the gang violence has gone up so much the last couple of years. Like climate change and everything, like it's been, and mental health has also been going like on a negative spiral, downward spiral. So we really just wanted to make kind of a counter reaction to everything that we've been hearing, because we do have hope, and we've found the light, and we've found Jesus. So yeah, just like an encouraging song for someone who feels like there's no hope, because we do believe that there is hope, and that there's something beyond this world, and that God has a bright future for us.
It's something very relevant to this time. We feel like
Yeah.
people need to know that you can believe in something else and not only listen to all the negative news.
Yeah.
I love that encouragement, and that message definitely transcends just Sweden. I think there is a lot of like, the enemy has been really smart with like causing darkness and gloom to be like the status quo everywhere worldwide. And so you guys proclaiming brightness, proclaiming a brighter future, so welcomed and so needed. So yeah, I really love that song, and it's also really fun as well. Like it's not just like a ballad, you know, it's like a really enjoyable song that you can play. And let's even go on to Breathe Again. And I have to say, you girls were singing on this song. Yeah. You know when they say the mic was on? The mic was on.
Thank you.
I also love how like you layered the vocals with the hook, so it sounds like a choir singing the Breathe Again part. I think like that's so beautiful. So shout out to I'm assuming that's Dennis on production, right?
Yes.
Shout out to Dennis on production. Please tell us all about Breathe Again.
Yes, Breathe Again actually is a very special story, because we wrote Breathe Again on a writing trip in Nashville in 2022, I think.
22.
So the crazy thing is, we wrote the song out of a perspective that we knew, like with Brighter Future, that a lot of people go through similar stuff that we wrote about, and that you sometimes feel like you just need to take a break and just breathe and spend time with God, because we all know that it's a very busy and hectic society that we live in, with our phones and everything happening, and a lot of people get burned out and stressed. But none of us, we had kind of experienced similar things, but after we wrote the song in 2023, I went through a really like the toughest period of my life, where my body completely crashed, like shut down, because of stress and like having a lot of thoughts just going around, and being in last year in school, studying, and traveling almost every weekend before that whole thing happened. And I just shut down, and I had never experienced. I was one of those people that said, "Oh, mental health, you just got to think positive, and then you're good." Like I
was like, "Don't think about it."
Yeah, I didn't understand people that was like feeling bad. I was like, just don't think about it.
She was delusional. That's what we're saying.
But that caught up with me, and so I really listened to that song after that whole crash and realized, okay, I told myself this a year ago. So that was crazy, and that really made the song very personal to me. So it got to help me before we got to release it to other people too. And it really is just about giving everything to him. And what I realized is that I hadn't given like 100% to God, and I tried to control most things in my life, which I cannot really do. And that's why I crashed, probably, because I worried about a lot of things that I couldn't even control. So I just had to listen to God's words, and and the peace that transcends all. I don't know, understanding in English. So that's really what I had to to land on. It's just give all my burdens to Jesus and not carry everything myself.
Wow, that is so I was gonna say beautiful. Obviously, the experience that happened is not beautiful, but almost the fact that it was written, you know, when the Bible talks about for a time as this,
Mhm.
like literally writing something a year in advance or however long in advance for something you were going to experience. Like God prepared you, and you guys were writing this thinking, oh, lovely song, like great
Mhm.
vibes, you know, but like it was going to be something that was going to breathe life, pun intended, into your life again after such a dry period. And I
Yeah.
thank God that you're like better now, up on your feet, performing on stage. Yeah, God is really good, and that's such a beautiful song. I definitely want to go on to the next one, which is your single Right Now, featuring the incredible Eris Ford, who again is also in a sibling group with her brother
Yeah.
Evan and Eris. There are quite a few sibling groups. I think it's very normal for like Christian, like people have kids and they're like, sing guys.
Sing in church, please.
Yep.
Play the keys. Like my mom and dad were like, oh, we have enough to start a church. Let's go. And I really like this one. Because even though it was a little while back, socials have loved this song. Like the clips you guys have created for it, it's gone all over like TikTok, Instagram. I really enjoy this one. Please tell us about writing and releasing this song.
Yeah. Well, we wrote it during the pandemic, and we wrote it with a friend from the States called Olivia Grasso over Zoom because we couldn't be in person together, obviously. So yeah, we wrote it about just having that time where you had to kind of stop and be right now, because during the pandemic we didn't know like what was going to happen tomorrow, or are we going to be able to be 50 people in a week, or are we going to be able to have church, or you know. And obviously all our traveling stopped, and it was just crazy. You had to be right now. And we wrote it about like intentionally stopping and being like, okay, what does God want me to do with my life and with what I've been given? So that's what the song is about. And then we had heard about Evan and Eris, their music, and we loved it. I think especially Dennis had listened to a lot of their music back then. So and then we just kind of reached out to Eris because we had never met them.
Yeah, not
before.
knowing if like she would answer or not. We had no idea.
So we were like, hey, like we have this song, we would love for you to hop on it and to write a verse. So then she answered, and we hopped on a FaceTime, and she was there with her little baby, which we now know her. She just
turned 3 the other week.
So this was about 3 years ago. So yeah, and she wanted to do it, and she made a verse. And when she sent her vocals back with like harmonies and like vocal stacks, we were like,
amazing.
Wow. So
yeah, but I mean, yeah, the Ford family, Evan and Eris and their siblings and parents, and yeah, the whole family has become really close to us, and we've hung out with them many times and back in the US, and yeah, they're great people. We love them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was also about, I mean, the song Right Now being also in kind of when you're in the waiting, what do you do when you're in the waiting? Because we often see like, okay, where are we going? We're always looking forward, and of course we can have like visions and what do we want to do, but I feel like you sometimes just go around and wait for that thing to happen, like the thing in the future, but then forget to like actually use what God has given you in the moment. So yeah,
it's cool. Our relationship with like Evan and Eris and their whole family kind of started with this song. So
yeah.
Oh, I love that. This is such a good song to like start a like friendship based off. And
Yeah.
it also did really, really well. So yeah, love that song. And I have to ask, the people want to know, like you released your EP Energy back in 2020. It's now 2025 at the time of recording this. Is there a new project due anytime soon?
There is.
Yes.
We actually have been teasing a bit of new music on socials, and we've gotten some good reactions on a song called Yahweh. That's probably going to be it's going to be out definitely when this podcast is out, and there's also going to be multiple songs out when this podcast is out.
Yeah.
So we haven't really released music in like a year now. We have been working on new music and really just working on our craft and molding like what is the new path and what do you want to say, how do you want to sound now, and yeah, so that's kind of what we've been doing after the tour in the US. So we have been we have a lot of songs stacked up and actually ready to release. So
yeah, we're not sure how many songs are going to be released when this is out, but we do have plans for projects, and we don't know how much we can say, but there's going to be a lot of music this year.
Yahweh is going to come out soon. Yes. We can say that. It's been sent. It's been sent to the platforms already, so it's going to be out soon.
Oh, that's nice. And will there be like collaborations with some more of your faves on there as well?
Yes,
there will be. Yeah,
we have a pretty big collaboration actually coming out pretty soon,
later this year.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, I'm excited to hear that. And like you said, like socials has been the place where you've kind of gauged how people will enjoy or appreciate the music. And I love that, like these singles coming out, the project coming out is going to be really well received. And I just loved how you guys have utilized social media, like being in Sweden and having a voice that can be heard worldwide, proclaiming the like message of Christ, of course, but also like the BTS of being life with Lin D and being young people just like existing, being friends, being siblings. Do you guys have like a social media strategy, or is this like more of just like a fun, enjoyable way to share content about yourselves?
Wow. Good question.
Yeah, I think it's both. We do want to be intentional with what we post, because social media obviously is a great tool to get your music out, and also to get the gospel out, and we combine those two or three to just spread Jesus. So we do have strategies and like plans, and we schedule things, and we like plan what would be smart and what we think would work and suit the music and the message best. But also sometimes it's just like random content. Yeah.
But of course we take inspiration from like what we've seen has worked for other people. But I think the hardest part is probably to try to be original and find your own ideas and creative ideas and just how to be different, because we wanted to stand out in some sort of way. So that's, we're working on that all the time to try to always elevate the stuff we do.
Yeah, and I think I recently saw, or I was going back through your socials, and I saw the clip where you met Annika, and you were showing her or you were teaching her phrases in Swedish, and she was teaching you guys phrases in Yoruba. And I was like, that's always gonna work, because you're coming with a language that most of the people you're meeting don't speak. So you could easily like that kind of content everyone loves, because it's just like, ooh, like languages, that's fun, that's people.
Cool.
But even down to like, I think you guys have like talked about verses and different like Bible verses and stuff like that. Obviously the music performance videos from actual shows. I think you have just such a nice kind of mix of stuff on there that we want to follow you, and like even reaching non-Christians, them be intrigued by the music, intrigued by who you are. I'd love for you maybe to share a bit about, or maybe perhaps you have advice for artists who are also like you outside of those hubs of the UK and the US and Canada, and how you kind of reach people internationally, if there's any advice you can give.
I would say keep working hard, even though maybe you're not surrounded by other people that do the same thing as you, and just stay focused and try to keep your motivation and like why you do what you do, and not to be too discouraged if something doesn't like fly for the first thing you do. I think the Right Now video that we're talking about that has over like 80,000 likes or something, we had already posted the exact same video before that.
I think a
And
couple times.
yeah, a couple times, and maybe it had gotten like a few hundred likes. So I mean, it's not always about like, sometimes you can't really control what happens, and but to stay consistent and just keep going, and use social media, because that's really what we have to really get out to other people. And yeah, I mean, I think it's mostly to just remember why you do what you do.
Yeah.
And for that to motivate you.
Yeah. And if you're being genuine, and if you're asking the Lord to do what He wants to do with what you have, then I think you can never go wrong. And
Yeah.
it's not always, I try to tell myself this a lot, because you can get caught up in numbers and, oh, this post didn't do so well, and we got to do more like them because they have the most likes, reviews, or whatever. But I try to check my heart and just go back to, if it reaches one person, then that's good.
Mhm.
And if it reaches 100,000 people, that's amazing. But to not just look down on the fewer numbers. So if it reaches one person, then it's great and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, to just have your heart in the right place, and to ask Jesus to do, what do you want me to do with this passion or this gift that I have?
Yeah, if you feel like God has given you the gift and that you're supposed to use it for Him, we do believe that God will open the doors that are supposed to be opened. And yeah, if it's His plan for you, then He's gonna make it work.
I love that encouragement, because it can be really disheartening when you're not in like those so-called hubs, and so you're like, oh, this isn't for me. But yeah, like you said, being a success story here, it's like God can and will use what He chooses to use. So yeah, be encouraged by that. I am getting towards the end of this interview, and I have really enjoyed speaking to the both of you. This has been great. You guys are amazing. I thought of a fun, like, penultimate, second to last question for you. Just because of the type of music you do, it's very upbeat, it's a lot of dance, and you're on a lot of dance stages. So I'm very intrigued by what you answer this question with. What is a TV show or a music soundtrack from a film that you think your music would fit perfectly into? And one particular song?
We both did this. Good question.
That's a really good question. Okay, I'm gonna have to
TV
think about
show.
this a little bit.
I don't watch a lot of TV shows, actually, now that I think about it.
The thing is, the ones that I watch doesn't really fit. Like,
Yeah. We're like
question.
Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
That's a good question. It would be
Wow.
amazing to have one of our songs that would be fitting, to be in The Chosen.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I would love that. Yeah, I don't know.
I also feel like it would be really cool for the message to get out there if a song would like land in Top Boy or like something like that, and for it to get out to a lot of people that we know watch the series that doesn't know Jesus. It would be amazing to just get out in some like big series too. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but it would be cool. I don't really watch that much series too. It's just mostly Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
No, I love the idea of The Chosen. Imagine like the wedding Jesus went to, and in the background it's like Lin D. Like, that'd be so good.
I mean,
No, that's really cool.
obviously, as you said, it would be cool to get it on like one of the most popular Netflix shows or whatever,
Yeah.
and have the music be because that's our goal with the music, to just reach people, and with the sound, and for the message to be in there,
Mhm.
but for someone who's not Christian to not be like, oh, this is Christian,
For them to still be like, this is a really good song, and then on top of that, it's a great message too. But we really want people to just feel like uh, they'd listen to that just as much as they want to listen to something else. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it would be amazing though to have it be like an audition song for like American Idol
Oh.
or
Oh, that was like outside the box thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't really. Wow.
that would be cool.
I love that. Like I used to watch like X Factor or Britain's Got Talent, and it would have like those like 5 songs that everyone would audition with.
Yep.
And like they'd be like, oh, sing the next song, and it'd be like another song from this list of songs. So that's
Yep.
really cool. That is really cool.
Maybe one day.
One day. Lastly, this is the final question, unfortunately, but this is a question that we call a SheHH Podcast classic because we love to ask it. We love to have our artists think about it. And that's about legacy. What would you love your legacy on earth to be? You know, when the time comes, when people think of Lin D, what would you want them to think of?
Mhm.
Wow. Big question.
Yeah. I really hope that people really saw our hearts and like what we want to say with the music, not really be like, oh yeah, they were really cool, they made cool music,
Or they had good live shows, or you know.
I mean, if someone would say that, okay, yeah, that song by Lin D really changed my life, or those lyrics or whatever, wherever it was, for them to be like, yeah, that was a turning point in that situation, or for it to really impact people on a spiritual level, because we really do believe that music can really speak to the soul. So that would be the biggest goal, for it to really change people's lives.
Yeah. I think I have come back to the story that I heard KB talk about, Christian rapper. He, if I remember correctly, I think he was actually saved because he got gifted a Christian rap album.
Mhm.
And through the lyrics and the songs on that album, he became a Christian. So I think that is like the ultimate, like, wow.
Yeah.
Then you know that someone is impacted by your music and what you do.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyone who's listening, if you haven't seen KB's speech from the Dove Awards, you should really watch it. It's amazing.
yeah,
I'm really encouraged by that.
yeah, for that to be the legacy, that something that we have done is part of someone's faith journey, that's really the goal.
I love that. And that is so true. As Christians, like you might not be an artist listening to this, and you might do something else or be in school, whatever it is. But if someone is led to Christ through your like portrayal of Jesus, that's what we're here for, you know. So that's really encouraging to hear. And I am so grateful for your time, ladies. This has been amazing. This has been a blessing to me. I know it's been an encouragement to people listening and watching. And I know that it's only up from here. There's only more to come. God. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And we
you.
just want to say thank you so much for all the support that you've given us through the years. We really, really appreciate it.
Yes.
And you are such a light, and we know this podcast helps a lot of people. So thank you so much.
We love what you do. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. That's so nice to say. Oh, that's really encouraging. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, we love you guys over here at SheHH. Like every playlist, every release, like we're here. So thank you so much for the encouragement as well.
We love you guys too.
Yes.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the SheHH podcast. If you did, please leave a like rating, comment down below, and share this episode with a friend. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at SheHH Podcast.